Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. In today's video, we're going to take a look at VulnClaw, an open source security tool designed to help with vulnerability assessment and security testing in an ethical and controlled environment. Before we begin, there's one important point. Tools like VulnClaw should only be used on systems, applications, networks, or devices that you own or have explicit permission to test. The purpose of this video is educational, so we're going to focus on understanding the tool, setting it up, and learning what it can be used for without testing anyone else's systems. VulnClaw is available on GitHub, and the project provides the source code along with information about the tool and its setup. If you're interested in security research, vulnerability assessment, or learning how security testing tools work, open source projects like this can be a useful way to explore these concepts in a safe lab environment. So, let's first take a look at the GitHub repository. Here, we have the VulnClaw repository on GitHub. The repository contains the project's source code, documentation, and the information required to get the tool running. One of the biggest advantages of an open source security tool is transparency. You can inspect the project files, understand how different components work, and review the documentation before using it. When you're evaluating a security tool, don't just copy commands from a random tutorial and run them blindly. First, understand what the tool does, what permissions it requires, what kind of information it processes, and where you're allowed to use it. The repository also gives us an idea of the project's purpose and how it is intended to be used. For anyone learning ethical hacking, this is a good habit to develop. Always read the documentation first, understand the scope of the tool, and then test it inside an environment where you have authorization. Now let's move on to installing VulnClaw. As with most GitHub-based tools, the first step is to make sure your system has the required dependencies installed. Depending on the project's current requirements, you'll need the appropriate runtime, packages, and other dependencies mentioned in the repository. After that, you can clone the VulnClaw repository from GitHub and move into its project directory. From there, follow the installation instructions provided by the project. The exact commands can change as the project is updated, so it's always better to use the current instructions from the official repository instead of relying on an old tutorial. Once the installation process is completed, you can verify that the tool is available from your terminal. And now, we can take a look at VulnClaw from the command line. The terminal interface is where we can interact with the tool and access the functionality provided by the project. Rather than running a real vulnerability scan against a third-party target, let's focus on what the tool is designed to help with. VulnClaw can be useful as part of a security testing workflow, where you need to investigate potential vulnerabilities in an authorized environment. A typical ethical hacking workflow starts with defining the scope. You decide exactly which systems are included in the assessment and make sure you have permission to test them. Tools like this can then help security researchers identify potential weaknesses, organize security testing tasks, and understand where additional investigation may be required. It's important to remember that automated security tools don't magically replace a security researcher. Their results still need to be reviewed and understood. A finding may require additional verification, and sometimes automated tools can produce false positives. This is why vulnerability assessment is more than simply running a command and looking at the output. For learning purposes, you could create your own isolated lab using virtual machines, intentionally vulnerable applications, or systems specifically designed for security testing. That gives you a safe environment where you can experiment without affecting real users or systems. You can also use the results from your authorized testing to learn about common security weaknesses, understand why they happen, and explore how developers can fix them. Another important part of ethical hacking is responsible disclosure. If you discover a vulnerability in a system that you don't own and you haven't been authorized to test, don't attempt to exploit it or access private information. Instead, follow the organization's security policy or responsible disclosure process. So, overall, VulnClaw is interesting for anyone who wants to explore vulnerability assessment and security testing from an open-source perspective. The key takeaway is simple: learn the technology, understand what the tool is doing, and always stay within your authorized scope. If you want to experiment with VulnClaw, use your own lab environment or a system where you have explicit permission to perform security testing. And that's it for today's video. If you found this overview useful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more Android, Linux, cybersecurity, and open source content. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.